Hey everyone, how you doing today? I'm Coach Gilbert, and today we're going to be taking a look at my last race this past Saturday, which is the Barrio Logan Grand Prix. It was a criterium race, and I was racing category 4-5. As you can see, first of all, apologies, I forgot to turn on the camera right at the start of the race, but a couple minutes after, well, better said a couple laps after, I turned it on, and this is where we're at. As you can see, it's a pretty big field. It was about 70 riders altogether, the ones that were in my category, and they were all pretty strong. They were really fast. Right here, we're going through the only climb of the short circuit. It was about it took 2 to 3 minutes to complete it, about a mile, and it had quite a bit of turns. We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 turns, I believe, 9 or 10 turns in the entire circuit, and you learn a lot, with this. With this type of racing, you're going at very, very high speeds, and you have to make sure that first of all you are safe. In here, I'm trying to still get used to the speed of the peloton. It's a pretty fast ride, but little by little, I start warming up and I start doing a little bit better and pushing to the front. The whole race was about 22 minutes for me, 25 minutes. It was a 30-minute race, but unfortunately I was taken out 3 laps to go. As mentioned, they were pretty strong, and unfortunately I was about a minute behind, so they were about to lap us, and that's why they took us out. But until then, I try to give it all my best to try to keep up with the rest of the peloton. As you can see right here, we're going about 30 miles an hour. This is one of the most ugliest turns because it was quite a bit of dirt. If you look here to the left, they were doing some construction, so there was some debris on the road, and that made it a little bit hard. You just had to be on top of it. That way there was no accidents, no problems. And again, we're back to the climb. It was not really steep at all, if you can call it a climb, but it was really where you had a little bit of a gradient where you can push a little bit of extra power, because most of it, it was pushing high power, high speeds, but in that little section, you were able to put a little bit of torque, and you were able to catch a couple of the guys. So this is the home stretch. As you can see, the guys they're trying to keep up with the peloton. I'm trying to stay on these guys as well. And right there in front, there's a little group that it's forming up, and I just want to be a part of that. So another right-hand turn. Something very important that I learned in this race, I've been to some criteriums before, but not necessarily an official race. And a very important thing that you cannot do on these types of races is to dive into the corners, kind of how I'm doing it right now. I'm behind, so there's really no one around me, but when there's a peloton, when there's a lot of people, you can cause a very big accident by doing that. So you try to stay on your line, take wide turns, and that way it's going to be safer for everybody. And on top of that, when you're taking wide turns, you don't have to brake. So you tend to keep your momentum and your speed a little bit longer. And yeah, so I'm still behind this guy. I believe he was another independent. He's it's pretty strong, but it looks like right here on this climb section he ran a little bit out of gas. So I'm going for the next group up, trying to do that bridge so that way I don't get left behind. As you can see, the speeds are pretty incredible. They're pretty fast. For me, that I'm a mountain biker, I usually race cross-country mountain bike category 1. We have high speeds, but most of it is high torque. You have to be putting a lot of force on the legs for the climbing. But in here, it was just a lot of revolution, a lot of speeds on the legs. It's just a different muscle system altogether, and always your heart rate is through the roof. You're pushing power numbers that for me they're a little crazy. Like in this section right here on the flats, we were pushing about 300 watts, which for me my FTP is about 315. So 300, it's just right there. But then when we went into the climb section of it, we were pushing, I don't know, anywhere in the 500, maybe even 600 watt range for that, I don't know, 20-second long small climb. So yeah, it was a little crazy. So as you can see, the curse, it makes a figure 8, which again, that's why it has so many turns. But again, it just makes it fun. It makes it short. It makes it quick. It's very snappy. You have to learn how to keep your speed, because if you're braking on every turn, you have to be pushing again pretty hard. So yeah, you just have to be, you just gotta be careful with that. Just keep your speed and stay away from the brakes. As you can see, this is another lap on the climb. We're going right next to this PRT guy. PRT was one of the biggest teams on the day. They took the first place on a couple of races, if I'm not mistaken, and a bunch of podiums. And just on my category alone, I would say there were about 15 to 20 of them. So they were the most dominant group in our field. We had PRT, which is local here to Chula Vista, in San Diego, and then we had also the San Diego Bicycle Club. They had maybe about 6 or 7 guys in there, and they're also pretty strong. They're some of the strongest guys. They go out and compete, like on national level, state level. So a lot of heavy hitters are on that group, and they have the experience. So they know how to do the turns. They know how, who needs to be going where at what time, who's gonna be, drafting behind who, and yeah, they have it all together. For me, I'm just starting out in the road world, in the criterium world, I would say. So I don't have a team yet, and it's mostly just learning, trying to stay behind wheels, and just trying to stay on top of everything. Let's finish the race. That's the number one goal. So as you can see right now, we're about halfway through the race, and it looks like the peloton just dropped us. Many of the guys in there, they got dropped. We did a little bit of a group that tried to connect with them again. As you can see, this PRT guy is on it. It's pushing as hard as he can. You're gotta be going at least 600 watts on that climb. So yeah. But yeah, so we're just trying to catch up. We're just trying to survive. We can't, we're not seeing them when we're crossing through the figure 8. So that's a really good case scenario for us, because once you start seeing them, you're never gonna catch up. On this group, as I mentioned, the most important and the biggest teams were PRT and SDBC, which is San Diego Bicycle Club. And during all this time, they were just drilling it out the front. They were pushing as fast as they could, because they have their teams, they have their trains, as they call them. So everybody has to do a certain job, and there's always that last guy, the sprinter, which they save till the end, so that he can just give that extra kick and win the category race. So I'm not gonna lie, I did kind of suck this PRT guys' wheel for quite a bit, I believe, till the end of the race. I'm just gonna give him kudos. For me, a big part of it was just trying to stay in the race, to not get dropped. And as you can see, he's giving it his all. For me, I was just happy, staying on his wheel. He almost dropped me a couple of the times, but yeah, I was able to catch up. In the time or two, I believe there's some guys that try to pass us, but they pass us. They see the air, how fast it's pushing you back, and they just go back again. But yeah, right here we're again on the finish line straight away, and we're just trying to get back to the field. Right there on the left side, you see all that people. That was the registration area. That was the tent area where we were able to get a spot to, get our things all together in there. Get ready for the race, prepare. The registration process was pretty good. It was fast. It took me about 15 minutes to get my package. The only thing that I would say is, I just didn't like that they only had packet pickup on the morning of the event. For me, my race was at 7 a.m. Well, it actually started 7:30, but that's another story. But it was 7 a.m. and that meant I had to get there super early, about 6 o'clock in the morning, so that I was able to get there, find a parking spot, get my packet, put the number, pin it to my jersey, and then go warm up and get ready for the race. So yeah, going back to the 7:30 start story, I got there early, as I mentioned, got everything ready, got warmed up, did a couple openers. It was a really good morning, and then 6:55 around there comes, and I'm like, okay, let's roll right to the start. But when I'm riding, there's a commissaire, like a referee standing in the corner, and he's like, no, everybody has to be going, over here. You'll notice we're going right through it. So he was standing on the left side. He sent us to the right side of that street, and the start is all the way over here. So what happened was, you see this start and finish mantle right here. So they didn't have it on. They didn't finish the scaffolding in time. So they were doing it during the morning, and they finished about like 20-25 minutes after. So that's when they called us. So we did warm up, but then kind of got cold again. The legs got cold again for all that waiting. But nonetheless, we got to the start line, and the USA Cycling commissaire, she was like, hey, you guys, thank you for waiting on us. We're going to give you your full 30 minutes, so go out there and have fun. And hey, for me, that was exciting. Again, first race ever for a criterium. So I was just, I just wanted to get it over with. I was really nervous before the start of the race. So for me, every minute of those 30 minutes that we were waiting, they were not as fun, because I just didn't know what to expect. A mountain bike race, I'm used to them. I know what I'm going for. I know, you go and it's a long effort, pretty much at everything you got. But this is just, it's 30 minutes. It's really short. It's like really high intensity. So it's just completely different from what I was used to. And more than anything, I have heard the stories about crashes and things like that in here, which luckily not, there were no accidents in my category during this race. So yeah, I was just afraid. I didn't want to fall off my bike. I wanted to stay up top. And yeah, and here you can see like some guys, a couple guys catch up to us, try to pass us, but then the wind is just a little bit crazy, and they decide to stay behind. So we are a couple of laps to go before they decide to take us out, and right now you can see there's nobody ahead of us, there's nobody behind us. We're a small group, about 7-8 cyclists, and yeah, a bunch of riders either got dropped and already taken out, or they just up the road. But thankfully, as you can see, they're still not that horribly away, because they're still not on our sides. Because you can see, from here to there, it'll be under a minute. It's really, really fast. Have another turn on the back. Just trying to stay on the wheel. So one thing that I learned, I'm seeing this rider right here in front of me, and I see his number. It's just like flying all around. He's probably a beginner just like me. So I guess the number, you gotta have somebody to help you, because they have to be put on pretty tight, but you know, you don't want to damage your jersey either. But if you put them like maybe when you have your shirt off or something like that, and it's not stretched as far, you know, you kind of try to put it where you think it's gonna be, but as you can see on his case, it's loose like my number was, and it just, you know, that area is just stopping you. It's making a bunch of noise, just flopping around, and yeah, it's just not fun. So if you ever do a road race or a criterium race, make sure to have somebody to help you out, maybe a teammate or something like that. That way the number is super snug and you're not wasting precious seconds with the air pulling you back, because you know it's all about aerodynamics more when you're going 30-35 miles an hour. So yeah, you just gotta keep it up. Here we go. So somebody else decided to go to the future. Give him a little break. It was so bad on me. I should have gone up and taken a pull, but I was just, you know, I was tired. My legs were burning. You know, no excuse. I'm training for a bigger race, so you know I had a little bit of a heavy week, and yeah, you know, it just I just, again, I was just happy to survive, happy to finish, and yeah, so looks like these guys are trying to get away from us, but do not be scared, as we're gonna catch him and pick him up in a second. I'm a little bit of a climber, so let's see. We're probably gonna do a little bit of a big effort, but hey, you can see the guys up there. They don't want to get dropped either. They don't want to get taken out from the race. Everybody knows this is our last lap. After this, it's 3 to go. So I had no idea where we were going to be taken out or where we were at. But yeah, I was just trying to catch up, trying to get on the wheel again. And we were like, no, they are not leaving us behind. So there's the finish line. He opens it up. Oh, and that's when they're like, oh, sorry. You get kicked out of the race for being slow. So that's about it, guys. I hope that you liked it. Again, very fast race, very fun race. Thank you to everybody, especially SDBC, for putting out an event like this. If you like the video, please subscribe to the channel, and if you have any questions, don't forget to leave them in the comment box below. I'll see you next time.